All right. Welcome, everybody. This is the Mission Redefined podcast. We are myself, Gary Byrne, and my partner here, Chris Nowak. We are both veterans, and we are veterans interviewing veterans. I'm Gary Byrne. I wrote the books Crisis Character and Secrets of the Secret Service. And Chris, tell everybody who you are.
I'm Chris Nowak, and I'm co-host here with Gary, and we're going to sit here and interview Bobby Bushay of the Marine Corps.
Today's Mission Redefined podcast is brought to us by Core Care Technologies. They're our first sponsor. So thank you to Core Care Technologies, who's a premier medical supplier of equipment for the military, for veterans. And I'll tell you more about them later. Yeah, today our guest is Pete Cannella, Jr. Is that right?
Junior, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm friends with his father, Pete Sr., and he was nice enough to come up from where he lives in New Jersey to help us out with our podcast. This is like our second or third podcast.
Yeah.
And of course, behind the smart curtain there is Grant Schmidt, the co-writer of my books and also our producer of the podcast.
Very good.
Which it could not happen without.
So, Pete, real quick.
Yeah.
Tell us when you served and what you did.
First, thank you guys for having me on here, Gary and Chris. I served with the Marine Corps from 2006, 2010. I EAS'd in 2010, and I got my honorable discharge in 2013. And I was a water support technician, which is 1171. It's a type of engineer, the utilities engineer, and with Engineer Operations Company with the Marine Wing Support Squadron 172. First Marine Air Wing in Okinawa, Japan.
Nice.
So my job, which I didn't do really at all, was water purification.
Basically keep everybody from getting dysentery.
Yeah. And honestly, my job was useless by the time that my deployment came. So all I really did was go on convoys and do convoy security and.
Because every Marine's a rifleman, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between us and a lot of other the other
correct.
branches.
Yeah.
But still not as badass as the infantry.
Oh, yeah, 311 over here.
I'm not afraid to say it.
Well,
I'm not afraid to admit it. The infantry
you served and you made it back, right?
That's all that matters.
Yeah. So one of the things about our podcast is the reason we're doing it is because, we're trying to redefine, and really the Mission Redefined podcast is really Chris's brainchild, but we're trying to redefine what people think success is.
Right.
And success to us is somebody who's not in prison and is still on this side of the of the earth. And so the first question I'll ask you is did you, when you were in the Marine Corps, did it ever occur to you that you might want to do it as a career, or was it like for me, 4 years or 5 years, whatever, and I was going to get out? So
while I was in, I couldn't wait to get out because I thought that it would give me more of a future as a veteran, out here. And now that I'm out here, I realize I had a lot more opportunity if I just stayed in.
You think?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. For the average, unless I get lucky along the way or something, but if I stayed in, it's pretty much, there's a career.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed. It's there.
Right.
And I didn't get in any trouble. I was good at what I did. I had great scores and everything. I'm not bragging about myself, but I wasn't someone.
That's all right. That's kind of why we're here.
That's all Gary does.
Oh, yeah.
You listen to two of these, you know that already. So, Pete, tell us what you're doing now, brother.
Well, I work in a school for special needs kids, and that's what I do during the day. And then I also have a job at night and the weekends, and that's where I do entertainment and things. So
very good. So tell us a little bit about working with those kids. Tell us a little bit about that. And
they, most of them are autistic. They're good kids. It's not the easiest job, but Marine Corps prepared me for a job like that, which is challenging and need a lot of patience for and things. So, and basically, kids really can't do anything for themselves except simple tasks you got to really do.
Right.
You said something real important. That's kind of what the podcast is about. You said the Marine Corps prepared you to do what you're doing. Tell us about that. Tell us how the Marine Corps, and give us some specifics of things you learned or did in the Marine Corps that are helping you with the job you're doing now today.
Well, basically, before the Marine Corps, I was a high school kid, and I was a total dumbass. I really was. I was a total idiot in high school.
We all were.
I got in trouble. I had probably zero discipline. The only thing I had that I was good at was physical stuff, running and things like that. And that's why I figured I could handle the Marine Corps. But as far as discipline, I didn't have any.
Right.
So I probably would have failed at life completely if I didn't go into the Marine Corps. It also made college so much easier. I went from a D student in high school to a B student, B plus student in college. And it's because it gave me the tools to know how to prioritize, and it gave me pride in myself to want to, be a better person and be just good at whatever's in front of me, even if I hated it.
Yeah.
School I hated.
Yeah.
And I still hate. But at least I did it well because I gave a shit, I guess. More than.
So, what are the three? Give me your top 3 tools that the Marine Corps gave you.
It gave me patience, for one. I didn't have patience. So I would rush. If I didn't want to do something, I wouldn't do it. And if I had to do it, I would do it quickly. And now, I'm patient enough to analyze, and I break things down and make sure things are done correctly. So that's one thing it gave me. It gave me a lack of fear, too. I really, I used to have like dumb fears about failing and things like that, or just insecurities with confidence, and that all went away. So that was gone, which is that's a huge barrier if you have that, if you don't have confidence in yourself. I guess the third thing is I learned leadership from the Marine Corps, how to take charge of things and how to speak with people and get them to basically follow what you're saying.
Do you think that helps you dealing with the kids and everything else like that, having that ability to lead? Do you see that trait coming out a lot at work?
It definitely got me the job because I do a pretty good job interview now,
So the things you just described to me, is it fair to say that some of that just is maturity too? Because that was a big thing. We've talked about this before with me, was you don't realize at the time, but going in the Air Force gave me some seriously needed maturity, where, I realized the world didn't revolve all around me. So
it does now, though.
It does,
yeah,
right. That's how I got you here.
That's how things change.
Yeah. So, because some of the things you're describing are maturity too, don't you think? But you matured in a way that being in the Marine Corps can only give you those tools. How does the discipline that we talked about help with your scheduling and your entertainment side of your life?
A lot of it, because it's all me.
Yeah.
That's my business. It's
right.
It's more than just an employee. Now I'm a manager. I'm a CEO. I'm the entertainer. I'm the director. I'm the script writer. I'm the guy who's responsible for the music, for the charts, for it, basically just about everything. Finding places to play, getting the money for it, and with that, you got to have a business mindset, and it's something that you need to be taught. And the Marine Corps just naturally made that easier for me because I had to learn it on my own because I wanted to do it so bad. And I was able to learn it on my own because of the certain traits that I've learned in the military, which makes me more focused. It makes me more take more initiative, especially. You need initiative. You got to do things, and also more adventurous. I'm
a little bit of risk sometimes.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, yeah, you stand up on a stage.
Yeah. Now, when you were in the Corps and you were doing convoys and stuff, were you the funny guy? Were you the entertainer then? Did you keep, the fellow Marines entertained, or were you?
I did on my own time, but I was pretty serious. I was a serious Marine when I was out there. I just wanted to do my job. I wanted to make sure it was done well. I wanted to make sure that whatever I was doing, I didn't want to mess up. Marine Corps, the smallest mess up could mean the biggest consequences.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you met Chris? Yeah, no, you're right.
You're right,
Yeah.
and that's interesting. So you're over in Iraq. You're on a convoy. Did you envision what you're doing now while you were over there? Obviously you're focused on the mission while you're there, but at some point you had to be like, all right, man, I'm getting out of the box. What am I going to do?
Someday I'm going to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what I figured when I was in was I'll figure it out when I get out.
Right.
That's all I was I didn't really have a vision. I just, on my free time, I used to make recordings and I'd go out. And when I came back from Iraq, that's when I really started going out and trying to make money on the side in the Marine Corps. Because we got paid decent, but it wasn't enough. And you don't have time for a job if you're in the Marine Corps, active duty.
Right.
You can't have two obligations. But if you can sing, you can have a show and you can make another, it's 10,000 yen because I was in Okinawa and that was another $100 in my pocket for a Friday night. And I found local jazz guys. They're all Okinawans. Could barely speak this. They didn't understand what I was saying half the time.
Right.
In reality, I had one guy who kind of spoke English who would translate a lot of this stuff. And I found these musicians and we started playing and started making money.
I find that fascinating that you're in a foreign country and your passion is music and you go and find somebody, huge language barrier there, but you still kind of get it done. I mean, that's really cool.
Well, that was a Marine Corps mindset.
Yes.
It's like, do you want to do this or don't you? Yes. All right, what do you have to do to do it? I had to figure out a way for this guy to understand me because he's got this band and I'm watching this band. I started scouting the local Japanese bands because there's a big scene for that out there. And I said, I could be a part of this, and I bet you they're making money. And I was right, and I got in.
Awesome.
I got in with a few bands out there.
Where'd you perform at on the Rock?
A place called Jazz Jungle, which was a small bar, and another place called Scotland Faro Jazz Cafe. But we also played at the Okinawa City Theater.
Really?
And that was a big theater, and I made like $250 there. It was like, I think it was like 25,000 yen or something like that, or 2,500 yen.
Right.
So, or 25,000 yen. I forget. I forget how it was.
Well, it's not. We're not doing math.
Yeah,
here, we'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
around $250.
So you were doing entertainment while you're on the Rock and everything else, and so you get discharged. You come home. Take me through that path. Take me once you come home, how you got to where you're at.
Well, it happened while I was still in. I was making demos out there too because they had this place called Casa Music Town, and it was real cheap. It was like $20 an hour. So I just started making all these recordings of the stuff I liked, and I kept sending them home to my dad and the different people I know. And I got a hold of Sid Mark, who was this real famous DJ of that music.
Yeah, I know who he is. He has a show on
Sunday with Sinatra.
Yeah.
It's the most famous Sinatra radio show in the country.
It's incredible. Yeah, Sid Marks. Yeah.
He ended up getting a hold of it because my uncle knew him and gave him a demo. And he's got demos a lot.
Yeah.
And he doesn't play them. But he heard mine, he liked it enough, and I was the only person he ever played in his entire career.
That's awesome.
As an amateur singer. When he did that, I figured I must be good enough to, keep going with this. So I came home and I got every connection I could and played in every restaurant I could, and I ended up getting some pretty cool gigs and playing at casinos and things. I just had a real big one at Harris Casino in Chester with Rotation Records. So it's going well.
That's great.
So you're back. You're singing now. Where do you see that going? Is that going to be your focus now? Is that what you're trying to do? Is forward that career? Sounds like you have a family. Sounds like that. Obviously that's your focus. But how are you balancing everything else like that? And did the Marine Corps help you with being able to balance these different things?
Yeah, time management. It helped me with, just doing stuff in a way to where you can make things fit, and it takes a lot of time management because I need babysitters and I got to find time around my job to, set up and get there on time and start my show and get home and I got to pay babysitters. I don't really have much of a personal life, but
right.
I don't really want it anyway because I have more fun doing what I'm doing than I would just going to a place and getting drunk someplace and going home and waking up feeling not so good, Marine Corps was like that a lot.
Still is for me. That was
a lot
last night.
That could be one of the things we have in common with the Air Force.
Yeah.
The Air Force and the Marine Corps have in common.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot of fun. But,
Sure. So I get what you're saying. There's limits to how much of a good time you can have, and your priority is music now, or one of your priorities is music. So let me ask you this: do you have is there a favorite Sinatra song I'm trying to think what pops into my head. I guess New York, or My Way.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
Going out on a limb there, Gary.
Yeah,
as always.
No, I'm familiar with them. Like, what's your favorite? Is there?
My Way tends to be a favorite of just people. People just
Yeah.
tend to like that song.
Yeah, it's like the piano player with Billy Joel, I guess.
It's a cool song, you know, and it's a song about like basically personal liberty. If you really break it down, that's what
Right.
the song's about.
Right.
Just being doing things your way
So
and being proud of it.
while you're in the Corps, nobody in your command said, "Yo, my Marine can sing. We need to get him involved in the Marine Corps band. We need him to do something like that," or
Core Care Technologies is your premier medical supplier and equipment provider serving the Philadelphia area since 1998. Core Care Technologies accepts most major insurances as a full in-network provider and is comprised of licensed and certified staff. Core Care Technologies is a full provider of custom complex manual and power wheelchairs and services 100% of their products and takes great pride in serving our military also, and is accredited by the Joint Commission. Core Care provides such services as CPAP machines and supplies, power mobility sales and service, off-the-shelf grade and custom compression hoses, which are like stockings to prevent DVTs, and then orthotics and orthopedic bracing, wound care, diabetic supplies. They are open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and have a live on-call emergency after hours. Find Core Care Technologies for all your medical supplies and needs at www.corecarenewjersey.com. Again, that's www.corecarenj.com. Thank you so much to Core Care.
you just keep it under wraps? I mean,
People knew, my higher ups knew, they were impressed with it and everything, but they were more, they wanted me to do my job, and because they needed me for where I was at. So, it was just something I had to find time for, as long as I wasn't locked down, because it was always a risk, because I could book a show, and if some Marine does something stupid.
no.
Yeah, it's
That
a
happens?
risk.
No.
And then we all get shut down, and I can't play the show.
That had to be just when he was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could never.
Yeah. So, I mean, but you get your balls broke at all or anything by other Marines saying, "Oh man, this dude's, a little bit off because, he sings." I mean, it's not a normal,
Yeah, believe it or not, I didn't.
Really?
I had a lot of support. Yeah, because people.
That's awesome.
Because people were like, "Oh, that's pretty cool, dude."
You can definitely tell he wasn't in the infantry.
Yeah, right.
0311, you got your stuff. No, that's awesome though. It's different times though. But this has always been a huge passion of yours, obviously. Do you feel as though if you had not joined the Marine Corps, you wouldn't be able to pursue your passion?
I definitely feel that way.
So
I think that it gave me the
Okinawa
courage.
was a good training ground for you. That's what I'm kind of gathering. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
For a lot of things.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of, I prefer that I was stationed there anyway, because it's more isolated. And so it's a lot more rules and restrictions and things, but it made me, a better person out there.
But it's funny too, because a lot of people I knew in the military, Marine Corps, the other services, they like to go to Okinawa because of the martial arts.
And that's not why I liked Okinawa.
No, I know it's not. But
They still got Whisper Alley?
Yeah.
That's why I liked Okinawa.
They got Whisper Alley.
Whisper Alley, yep. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yoshihara.
Yep. The old,
Mihara. I don't know how I know this, but.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, he heard it from another Marine.
No, I probably heard it from me. I'm going to own it, because let me tell you something. That's what I did on my time off.
Yeah.
I was only there a few times. I don't know. It was just.
Yeah. But, but it's interesting, though, just to, people who, military, Marine, wherever you're in, how they go to the same place and have different experiences. Some take advantage of it,
right,
like Pete did.
Yeah.
Some may say I wasted.
Right.
But to me, they were experiences.
Right.
It's what I enjoyed to do. I still enjoy doing it to this day.
Yeah.
But that's really interesting, because all my guys, that's all we did.
Yeah.
We were broke.
Yeah.
2 days after, and obviously Pete's taken advantage and been successful. And I think that's interesting that you found those opportunities yourself, and and going back to kind of what we're talking about, the military, and in particular the Marine Corps, gave you that skill set. Am I correct?
You are correct, but I was broke because I still partied hard, man.
All right.
When I was on
Once
my
a Marine,
living,
always a Marine. There we go. All right, don't let me
bless
down,
you.
brother. I was getting a little nervous over here.
when I was
Anheuser-Busch loves you.
even though I made that extra $100, you know, it was well spent pretty soon after. And,
That's good.
I was always broke in the
Yeah.
Marine Corps, and
So was I in the Air Force.
Yeah.
and we got paid good money.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be more because the amount of work, but
Right.
You were
know,
always going to have a place to sleep. You're always going to have a meal card.
You always got the gym too.
The gym,
You
yeah.
can always go. You know, you don't have to
Yeah.
pay your monthly membership
Right, that's right.
to go work out.
Yeah.
see a lot of spending money, and I just used to get trashed, or you know, I'd go out to eat, and
Right.
or maybe scuba diving lessons, just anything
Nice.
you can
Right.
think of. You know, you have the money to spend on spending stuff. You know,
Right.
It wasn't
Yeah.
a ton of money, but you had
Yeah.
more. You had spending money.
Yeah. My first big purchase was a stereo.
Yeah.
Big Pioneer stereo. You know, stereo wars in the barracks, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So Pete, you're back. You're singing a lot. Do you miss the Corps at all?
I do. I mean, it was something that when I think about it, I wish I stayed in. But you know, when you're in, you don't know the future.
Right. Oh, you're thinking about getting out.
It's not because so much that it's more the people. I miss being around Marines
Right.
because you're surrounded by Marines. Out here, you're surrounded by
Jack wagons.
you know,
Yeah.
old ladies from the PTO. You know, it's
Right.
people who complain about any little thing, and you got to watch what you say all the time. And you know, it's just so, I don't know. It's kind of lame out here. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's lame. In the Marine Corps, you're around a lot of really cool guys, and you're around people who can take a joke, and you know.
Right.
You don't have to be so sensitive.
Right.
Politically correct, sensitive,
correct.
whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to wear your big boy pants when you're in the military. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Marine Corps especially.
So I got to ask, did you go with the high and tight, or what'd you do with those locks, man?
I had, you know, it's how most Marines start out, with a high and tight,
Yeah.
and then the closer you get to EAS,
The
the
long.
lower.
Yeah.
The
lower the
fade-
fade comes
Pushing
down.
it up, you're using moose and
I never had hair like this. Well,
Yeah.
I had a medium reg. Lowest I ever had was a medium reg, and maybe an inch and a half on the top.
Yeah.
I never went like. There's Marines that had 3 inches and they
Yep.
had low regs, and you know, hair was not much different than mine now.
yeah.
I never went there, not until I got out.
So when you got out, first thing you did, I mean, you come back home, just tell me the first thing. I mean, what's the very first thing you did?
First big thing,
Yeah, first big.
I got someone pregnant.
All right.
Just to be honest, first big thing I did is I got someone pregnant.
Yeah.
My daughter's great.
That's great.
That's great. That's that's awesome. And obviously, you know, raising your daughter, working two
Taking
jobs, 2
responsibility.
gigs, and you know, that's kind of what we want to try to do with Mission Redefined, Gary and I, is we want to change the narrative. We want to change the narrative and talk to veterans like yourself and allow veterans yourself a voice, because a lot of times all we hear about, you know, is the jackass that's, you know, unemployed, you know, not doing the best things, hanging out at the VA all day, taking all sorts of meds, and you know, not being a contributing member of society like yourself, and you know, accepting responsibility. And I think that it amazes me, and I'm sure you've seen it too, Pete. You know, the people who were in the military and get out, and you're like, how the hell were you in the military?
Right.
You're a complete ass.
Right.
Yeah,
You,
some.
you know, I mean, you weren't an ass when you were in, because you'd have got
Right.
shit beat out of you, or you got kicked
Right.
out. But I don't understand how veterans forget that. Forget,
Right.
you know, you show up on time. Forget you wear the proper clothes.
Right.
Forget common
Right.
courtesies. Yes, sir.
Courtesies
No,
and
sir.
manners,
Thank
yeah.
you. Can I help you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the environment out here. I mean, it's the environment out here promotes. It basically promotes mediocrity, and it really does, and it glamorizes what I call loserism. You know, acting in a way it's like a loser. It's like a bum.
Yeah.
And they're painting these dudes like they're getting all these girls and they're total losers, but they're getting like tail all the time, and yeah, that doesn't help. You know, It really does. But I think a lot of people come out here and they just, you know, they're trying to fit back in, and they just can't There's guys out there with PTSD and things, and I think they have an excuse because they have a mental thing is wrong.
Right.
But then you got guys. I remember some people. I'm not going to say names who I did serve with, and I know they haven't been through anything because I've deployed with them and everything. And I hear that they're on drugs and they're just doing stuff that's stupid and they're not doing well. And it's like, well, dude,
Yeah.
I mean, what's your excuse, man? You have a GI Bill. They're going to give you college and housing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, use it. You at least got somewhere to live and you can pay your bills every month.
Yeah.
For 3 years or so. But it's a shame. And I'm not talking bad about them or anything.
You're just pointing out what the facts are, yeah.
Yeah, just saying, you get out here, you still got to, don't forget what they taught you. That's all,
Yeah.
I mean, and you're right, though. I mean, I still, to this day, have trouble understanding how they forget that. I mean, it was drilled into you for a minimum of 4 years.
Yeah.
Be on time.
Right.
Be courteous.
Yeah.
Be clean. And do your job.
Yeah.
I mean, you held accountability. Do you think it's because they're not held accountable once they get out and they're just like, fuck it.
I do.
I'm going to run wild.
Yeah, that's it.
You know?
I do. And the funny thing is that, from time to time, I would say maybe that, I strayed here and there. But the bottom line is that you go back to what works right. And to me, to do the right thing is more comfortable. So, it's funny as you both of you were talking, Chris, you and Peter discussing this. People are popping into my head.
Yeah.
That I worked with when I was an air marshal. And there's this one particular guy, and he actually was a former Marine. He was there for 11 years, and I liked the guy, but I never understood how he could be late as much as he was, and because he knew nobody would put a foot up his backside.
Right.
So what did I do? I put a foot up his backside one time.
Right.
When his being lateness actually kind of endangered us.
Right.
That got his attention. He didn't like it, but what are you going to do about it? So I think that's part of the thing. When you get out, there's nobody. There's no ramifications for your bad actions.
No accountability.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is there one particular thing you think, Pete, that, kept you from being, a statistic, kept you from being one of the jackwagons? I mean, you got your shit squared away. You know what I mean?
I mean, I just had goals. I had a vision. And I just kept my eye on the prize. And I had a lot of things around me because I've made mistakes out here too myself.
Yeah.
But I always focused and stayed. No matter what happened, I never let it make me, turn into something that I would hate. So, for instance, my daughter, when I had my daughter, it wasn't. I might call it a mistake, but it was not unplanned.
Sure.
And then my son, we were supposed to get married, and my son, so we decided, work on my son. We're going to get married before he was born, and that fell through because of the reasons I'm not going to get into. And then
Right.
Ended up coming to a point where I had to take care of both kids, and I take care of both kids now because of things like that. So I had all that around me, and I still, always kept that in my head about, stay focused, stay on my goals. You got responsibilities. You have to do what you have to do.
So you're keeping your goals. You're manning up and doing the responsible thing. You are the perfect person for us to interview.
Exactly. I mean,
nobody's. You do get some help clearly at times, but you are really doing the right thing no matter what. Even when you made a mistake, you're doing the right thing. I mean, you should pat yourself on the back.
So
thanks.
And it's amazing though that more stories like Pete are not being told. That we got to hear about the guy who's in the basement, loading up his AR-15, and got everything. He's out back, or he's getting behind the wheel, and everybody struggles with something.
Right.
Everybody who serves, everybody who's deployed struggles with something. But we have to change this narrative.
Yeah.
We got to change this narrative. I mean, you got someone like Pete.
Right.
Did his time while he was over there, was much more proactive in Okinawa than I was. And, is back, and he's rocking it.
Yeah.
And here's a guy, how many people walk by him? How many people see him through a course of a day and don't realize, A, he's a veteran.
Yeah.
B, he's a Marine.
Yeah.
and see he's kicking ass now.
Yeah.
That's what has to change, and that's what what we're doing.
Right.
And I just think we just got to keep going at it and highlighting you know Americans like Pete.
Yeah,
that's
I
what
agree.
it's about. Do your time and get her done when you get out.
Not only is he doing the American dream, but he knows what his American dream is, and regardless of what pops up, he's getting it done.
Yeah.
So we've been going for about 25 minutes or so. Isn't that right, Grant? Yeah. So we're going to start wrapping up, but I would like to at the end of the show, we'd like to talk a little bit. This is a little sensitive, but we talked about PTSD and we'd like to remind everybody that listens to this podcast, if you're a veteran or you know a veteran that's struggling with emotions, please get your help.
Get your help.
Get it from the VA, get it from somewhere. Reach out. Tell somebody you need help. And if you're somebody who's heard somebody has those issues and you don't think it's your business, it is.
It is. It's
Make it your business.
And I have a saying I like to use, and I'm going to throw it out now. I don't think I've thrown it out yet in this podcast. And I want to remind everybody, it takes a nation to heal a veteran.
Yeah.
The VA can't do it alone.
Right.
DOD can't do it alone. We all have to chip in.
And that's significant coming from you because you were a Marine, wounded, and you worked for the VA.
Correct.
So you know what you're talking about.
Yep. So in closing, let's do this, Pete. We're going to do two things, all right? First of all, again, Private Schmuckatelli coming up on his EAS. Give me two things that he should think about when he first gets out. That's my first request from you. So fire me at two things.
Don't get involved in a relationship when you first get out. I think that's a horrible idea.
Okay.
Because
I like that.
Because when you get out, when you're in, you're lonely. You really are.
Sure.
You don't.
Yep.
We don't want to admit it, but you don't have time for girls and a woman. When you're in high school, you got girlfriends, and you miss that stuff.
Yeah.
So when you get out, you don't want to jump right into something just because now you can have a girl whenever you want, and bring her in your house when before you couldn't have women on your base, let alone your door, your barracks room or whatever. But I would say wait and focus on your goals. And the second thing is that watch who you're hanging with when you get home. Your old friends, they might be total shitheads when you get back.
Right.
They might be on crack or whatever, heroin and things.
That's a significant thing.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And you get home and you think they're your same friends they were when you left. And they're going to say that you changed. And you might have changed, but they might have changed too. And, focus on you.
All right.
Right. Could
My last thing.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
You just got to belt me out something. I don't give a shit if it's Barney. I want to hear you sing something, brother.
Yeah.
Just give me something real quick and we'll end with that. All right?
All right. You ready?
Sure.
Yep.
Let's just do something everyone should know. It's a song called Come Fly With Me. You guys know that song?
Oh, yeah.
Come fly with me, let's fly away. If you can use some exotic booze, there's a bar in far Bombay. Come fly with me, let's fly away. That's it.
That's good stuff,
awesome.
my brother.
It's off the cuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I personally, as a Marine, want to thank you. And I was kidding about the Bobby Bushay, but I think you could rock the Bobby Bushay.
Yeah.
Being a water boy and whatnot. But that's awesome, man. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you got a full plate, and know that you're helping veterans. You're helping your fellow veterans by doing this today, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I appreciate it also. Thank you so much. I know you had to get a long drive and get some child care, and we appreciate the effort you made. And your voice is fabulous. Thanks. I get why you do what you do. And once again, this is Mission Redefined. I'm Gary Byrne. Chris Nowak, Action Nowak. Actually, I didn't say that in the beginning. I'm sorry.
We'll correct that next time.
And this is Mission Redefined podcast. And if you're listening to this and you have a business and you like to sponsor us, we could do commercials for your business and talk about you and your business and help you expand your business. So please contact us for that. Thank you so much.
You want to give a shout out to your?
Yes.
Yeah, give shout out where people can find you, track you.
Give yourself a plug, please.
Thanks,
Grant.
YouTube.com/Pete Cannella Sound. So it's CANNELLAS and then sound. That's how you spell my last name. Pete Cannella's Sound. That's
Awesome.
it. You can just search it.
That's great.
Great. Again, Pete, thanks so much, brother.
Well,
All right.
thank you, Gary, in action.
Yep.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
No problem.
I hope we could do this again.
Love to.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.